And we are live. We are live. Ciao,
Ciao
Fa.
Fabri.
How are you?
Ciao Fabri. Yes, we are here live on YouTube as always. So today is like a deadline day, because we have the first part of the summer transfer window ending before the Club World Cup, and we start straight with the news. We have many things to share with you, and we start with the latest, which is Mike Maignan and Chelsea. What's happening?
Yeah, I wanted to clarify something on Mike Maignan because what happened for the French goalkeeper. First of all, there was an official bid from Chelsea, as we mentioned, 15 million euros rejected by Milan. But my understanding is that a new proposal worth 18 million pounds, despite reports, never happened, never took place. It was never sent by Chelsea. There was a club-to-club contact with the possibility to add some add-ons to the 15 million euros proposal rejected by Milan. That's what happened yesterday during these calls between Chelsea and Milan. But this morning, again, new contacts between the two clubs and no agreement in place. So the deal for Mike Maignan to Chelsea is off at the moment, because for this transfer window is off. So it's not happening now. Mike Maignan is not traveling to the US with Chelsea, is not joining Chelsea, he's staying at Milan. That's the message we have today. So no deal for Maignan to Chelsea. Then there are still 3 months of transfer window, so we never know what happens in life. But what I can guarantee is that today nothing is happening, and for this transfer window, the deal is not happening. Despite an agreement also between Maignan and Chelsea, because the player wanted to go to Chelsea, but Chelsea made clear immediately 1 week ago when this negotiation started with Milan that for them the player was an opportunity. So they didn't want, according to their view, to overpay for Mike Maignan. They didn't want to spend too much on a player who is out of contract in 1 year and can sign a free deal in 6 months, potentially, if he doesn't sign a new deal at Milan. And so this is why Chelsea immediately said 10, 15 million euros, maybe some add-ons, but never wanted to pay 25 or 30 million euros. So the deal is currently off. Milan maintained their position. They wanted that money for Maignan, who is a fantastic keeper. So there is also Milan view on this, obviously, to be respected. And now Chelsea, for the Club World Cup, continue with their goalkeepers. Robert Sanchez, who is the goalkeeper who brought Chelsea into the Champions League football for next season. Jorgensen, who is still seen as a huge talent by the club. And then obviously there is Petrovic, who did fantastic last season in Ligue 1, keeper of the season in Ligue 1, and so a really important player to add to the Chelsea roster. And then there is Mike Penders, the Belgian keeper, who is a talent for the future, who could go on loan maybe this summer, but he's seen as a talent for the future. So Chelsea have the goalkeepers. Chelsea spent 45 million pounds in goalkeepers 1 year ago, and so we can understand why they stick with their goalkeepers. Maignan was an opportunity, but no deal between the clubs.
So let's keep remind that, of course, we are here live on YouTube. We have 6 hours more or less left before the end of this part of the transfer session. Then, of course, there will be another one starting after the Club World Cup. And what's happening with Bino Gittens as well, because that's another deal that we've been talking a lot over the last weeks.
Yeah, it's another, let's say, story on the point of view of the timing complicated, because at the moment there is still no agreement between Borussia Dortmund and Chelsea. So there are not so many chances to see Bino Gittens join Chelsea today for the Club World Cup window. But in this case, I would be very optimistic on a deal to be reached in the next days or weeks. So after this Club World Cup window. Again, let's see what happens today, if there is a surprise today. But most likely this deal could happen later in the window, because the conversations between Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund continue, very positive conversations. Because at the moment, yes, there is no agreement, but Chelsea are willing to improve their proposal after 35 million euros bid rejected a few days ago. The player already has an agreement with Chelsea on a 7-year deal. So everything is ready on player side. They keep advancing club to club, but there is still no agreement. Then let me say that Chelsea are not in panic for this story, also because they didn't sell basically any player. They added to the squad who qualified for Champions League football Liam Delap already, and there is also Mamadou Sarr joining as defender. So Chelsea have a complete squad for the Club World Cup. Then if they have the possibility, obviously, to add Bino Gittens today, they will do that. Otherwise, it could be in the next days. So this negotiation for Bino Gittens is still ongoing and will continue in the next days. My expectation is for Chelsea still to advance on this one very soon.
Let's switch topic. We've been talking about Chelsea in the first part of our live here on YouTube. We switch topic and we speak about Barcelona. Joan Garcia, what's the latest? What you can tell us about this deal?
The agents of Juan Garcia have arrived in Barcelona. So the agents of Juan are now in Barcelona, and I was always mentioning last week how this week was going to be Juan Garcia week at Barça, and this is the plan. Barcelona are prepared to pay their lease clause, 25 million euros to Espanyol, so we just wait for these formal steps. All the contracts are ready for the player, 5-year deal as new Barcelona goalkeeper, all prepared between Juan Garcia and Barça. Now working on the formal steps, and so with the agents in the city, obviously working with the club to finalize everything, to prepare all the documents. A lawyer are also there to check all the contracts of the player, and then proceed with the formal signature of Juan Garcia as new Barça player. So the here we go is coming, and the move is happening because Barcelona will have a new goalkeeper. Then, as we keep mentioning, we have to see how they will resolve the situation with Marc-André ter Stegen, because there is now some interest from clubs around Europe, and so let's see what the player wants to do. Ter Stegen in public always said he wants to continue at Barça, stay at Barça, maintain his position at the club. We know that Barcelona see Juan Garcia as their starting goalkeeper, Szczesny extending the contract, and then also Iñaki Peña is still at the club, but obviously he's expected to go. And so for ter Stegen, a solution to be found because the player will now return from international games with Germany and try to clarify his situation with the club.
Let's talk about AC Milan, because of course we mentioned about Mike Maignan situation. He's expected to stay at least for another month. And then we spoke about Tijani Renders of the last weeks, who's joining Manchester City. But then there is also the situation of Rafael Leao. So what's the latest on him, and what can we expect from him in the future?
Yeah, for Rafael Leao, I wanted to clarify something. Last week, we had many rumors coming from Italy, from Germany, saying that Milan were going to receive a bid from Beier from Rafael Leao. I came here and said, yeah, Rafael Leao is a player appreciated internally by Bayern, but as many others. So I'm not aware of Bayern in active talks with Milan for Leao. I'm not aware of Bayern presenting an official bid to Milan for Leao. I'm not aware of any swap deal with players included. So at the moment, the situation for Leao remains completely quiet. There are no negotiations ongoing with Milan. The player is not asking to go to Bayern. So the situation is absolutely under control for Rafael Leao at the moment. No bid from Bayern. And let me repeat once again, then I will explain more in the next hours or days on this one. But from what I understand, the dream target for Bayern as a winger is Nico Williams. Then, if it's possible, we will see, because financially it's a very difficult deal, big salary request, so it's not an easy deal to do financially, but Nico Williams is the dream target for Bayern. For Rafael Leao, at the moment, I'm not aware of any official bid, despite, again, many people saying the bid is coming, Bayern are preparing a bid. I'm not aware of this.
Talking about Liverpool and Milos Kerkez deal, how are things? How close is that to be official and happening?
Yeah, look, for Milos Kerkez, again, I have many messages from Liverpool fans. Again, relax, guys, on this one also, because there will be a meeting this week. My understanding is that probably this meeting is not going to take place today, so probably you have to wait a few more hours. I know it's easy now to put Kerkez done deal everywhere, because obviously my expectation is for this deal to happen. Absolutely, I said that weeks ago, and that remains my feeling, but the meeting will not take place today. Will be soon, don't worry. And Liverpool are prepared to close the deal for Milos Kerkez. So there will be this final round of talks to close the deal with Bournemouth. The deal with the player is done. Kerkez wants to go to Liverpool. Bournemouth signed their replacement with Truffert, joining from Rennes. Deal done last night. Now they are planning for the medical test and contract signing. And as I said last night when I shared the news of this player, Truffert, going to Bournemouth, when you prepare the way for your replacement, it means that the deal is getting closer. So Milos Kerkez will go to Liverpool. That's my expectation, but we need to wait a bit for the here we go. Not that long.
Let's conclude today's live show. Maybe we'll be here also later, because it might be a busy day for you as well. Talking about Martin Zubimendi, you gave an important update this morning on his deal with Arsenal.
Yeah, what I said yesterday and here on the channel, and what I want to repeat today, because I got million messages, obviously respecting all the informations coming from Spain on Real Madrid interest, on Real Madrid hijacking the deal and all of this. We did a live show yesterday, and I said this, and I keep repeating also today, that my information is that Martin Zubimendi will be an Arsenal player, that Martin Zubimendi has an Arsenal deal in place, that the two clubs already agreed on 65 million euros to be paid in installments, so they are not formally triggering the clause, but they will facilitate the payment terms, but the value is basically the same, including taxes, so no big changes. But what it's important to mention is that my information, at least, is that Martin Zubimendi has an agreement done with Arsenal, is that Martin Zubimendi will play for Arsenal. Then let's wait for the formal steps, the official signature and also the medical test. So there are a few steps to complete, but the agreement is done for Zubimendi to Arsenal, and that remains my expectation for this summer transfer window, to see Zubimendi as one of the first signings for the new Arsenal cycle.
Thank you, Fabri, for today. We'll be here soon again because it's going to be a busy day, busy weeks. Also, the Club World Cup is starting next week, so we'll be here also talking about that and all the players related. Thank you, Fabri. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Ciao, guys.